Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you today?
We are amazing today.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that you're good. Okay, and doing well. So let's start with the name of Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth. Our today's topic is the parts of a sentence. Before I explain the parts of a sentence, does anyone know what a sentence is? What is your definition of a sentence? Like a simple definition of a sentence. Yeah, what is a sentence?
Combination of words.
The combination of words
Join
is.
together make a sense.
Oh, okay. So you say the combination of words which makes a proper sense is, a sentence. Okay, what do you think? What do you say?
A group of words which mix together and means
Something.
something. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, fine. I mean, they're different words, but the concept is the same. So a proper definition, in simple definition of a sentence would be, it is a group of words which has a pair of subject and main verb and gives a complete meaning. A group of words which has a pair of subject and main verb and gives a complete meaning is a sentence. Okay, the four types of sentences that we will be working on in the future, inshallah. We have simple sentences in English language, compound, complex, and compound complex. So four types of sentences. But today we work on the parts of a sentence. So a sentence has three very, very important parts. Okay? Subject, verb, object, or complement. Okay? And now a lot of students are confused about object and complement, like what they are, right? So, or what the difference is between these two. Today, in this video, I will explain the difference between object and complement as well. So, in the future, inshallah, you won't have any problem with understanding or knowing the difference between the object and complement. So, the two parts, subject and verb, or I would say, if we call it verb form, it would be a great idea. Why? Because you may have two verbs, helping verb plus main verb. Again, altogether it is verb form, okay? So the best idea is to say subject, verb form. Why? Because you may have a negative sentence, right? In a negative sentence, you have auxiliary, don't plus verb base form, doesn't or does not plus verb base form. Altogether, it is a verb form, okay? So in a sentence, there must be the pair of subject and verb. If one of these two doesn't exist in a sentence, that cannot be called a sentence, okay? In a sentence, there must be subject and verb. What about object and complement? Now it depends. It depends on what kind of verb you have in your sentence. If your verb is transitive or double transitive, there has to be an object or two objects. If your verb form is intransitive, there may not be any object, there could be just a complement, okay? And there may not be anything. So I'm gonna explain what a complement is, what an object is, okay? So obviously you know that object, so subject, first of all, there are again different definitions, different words. Subject is a word which refers to a person, place, or thing that we talk about in a sentence, right? That could be one definition. You can also say subject, basically you can say subject is the doer of an action in a sentence. But again, it's not a complete definition. Why? Because, the main verb may not be action verb. It may be a state verb. A state verb, like, hate, love, want, need, right? These are all state verbs. So they don't show any actions. right? So if the main verb of your sentence is a state verb, that definition is not a complete definition. There's no action, so how can we say subject is the doer of an action, okay? I'm pretty sure that you have heard that this definition, like subject is the doer of an action, right? Okay, but it's not a complete definition. So now, a complete definition would be somehow kind of complicated for you because you are not like very advanced students, right, of English. But still, in the future, inshallah, when you go further and you go to the most advanced level, there will be a different definition of subject. But now I can tell you that subject is a word, of course, which refers to a person, place, thing, right? And to which the action or the state expressed by a verb refers. Okay? So if there's an action verb in your sentence, the action refers to the subject. If there's a state, expressed by the verb form, and the verb is state verb, so that refers to the subject. Okay? So that would be a complete definition of the subject. And then verb, it's a word which shows the action or the state of the subject. What is a verb? It is a word. It is a word which shows the action of the subject or the state. Okay? The state. It could be a state of desire. It could be a state of emotions. It could be a state of ownership. It could be a state of existence. Okay? Like to be verbs show the state of existence. Okay? And have and has and had and possess, these verbs show the state of ownership. You own something, you have something, right? And, love and like and dislike, these verbs show the state of emotions. Okay? And want and need and, expect and wish and hope, and these verbs show the state of desire. Okay? So if that is a stative verb, so now your verb, okay, is a word which shows the action of the subject, if it's an action verb, or the state which refers to the subject. Got the point? So there's a verb. An object is the receiver of action or the receiver of a state. Okay? If your main verb is action verb, the object is the receiver of the action. Okay? And if it's a state verb, then the object is the receiver of that state. You got it? Okay. And complement, which something that completes the meaning of something else. That's a complement, okay? For example, if you use a to be verb, right? You just say, for example, she is, he is. Is the meaning of, she is a complete meaning? No. The meaning of the to be verb is not a complete meaning, okay? And then you say, she is happy today. You see that? Happy today. So this phrase, these two words, happy today, they complete the meaning of the to be verb is. So therefore, you can say that is a complement. Understood?
Yes.
It's clear? Okay, now look at these four sentences, these four examples. So your subject could be a noun or pronoun. Basically, this much is enough. Once you go to advanced level, then you will learn that a whole class could be the subject of a sentence, noun class, okay? But now I don't want to make you confused because that is a part of the most advanced, grammar. Noun class, a whole class, which itself has a subject and, main verb and maybe other related words. And it functions as the subject of the main verb in a complex sentence, okay? But here, basically, this much is enough. Subject is either a noun or a pronoun. It is Tom or he. It is, for example, Laila or Shahla, or it's she. It's Tom and Mike or they, okay? So basically, this much is enough for you to know that subject is a noun or pronoun in a sentence, okay? So here, what is Tom here?
Subject.
It is subject, okay? What is rights over here?
Verb.
Okay, it is main verb form, okay? the reason I say verb form, because if it's, for example, a negative sentence, Tom writes a letter, Tom does not write a letter. So altogether, does not write. It's the main verb form, but negative form, right? You got it? So therefore, I say, verb form. So writes is the main verb form. And what is a letter here? It is object. It is object. So now, according to this sentence, the subject, Tom, is the doer of this action. And a letter is the receiver of this action. Okay? And the action, the verb shows the action of the subject. You see that? What is the responsibility of verb here? It shows the action of the subject. Okay? And what is the responsibility of the object over here? It receives the action of, the subject. Okay? So subject, the doer of action, verb shows the action of the subject, and object receives. So now you know that this is a transitive verb. If a verb takes object directly, it is a transitive verb. Okay. Now, he works very hard. He works very hard. So he is our subject. Works is our verb form, main verb form, right? What about very hard? What do you think? Is it object?
No, it's complement.
Yes, an object should be also a noun or pronoun. An object pronoun, like him, her, right? Them, us, okay? Object pronoun. Or it could be a noun. But very hard is not is neither noun nor a pronoun, right? So very adverb, hard adverb, these two are adverbs, right? So what is the function of these two words over here? He works. If we say he works, still it gives a kind of meaning. He works, right? But we need some sort of complement, right? So now very hard is a complement. Is what? It's a complement. They complete the meaning of this verb, okay? This verb doesn't need object, so it is intransitive. If a verb doesn't need object, okay, that's called intransitive verb. So it is intransitive verb. And finally, she's crying. I told you at the beginning that these two are the most important parts of a sentence, okay? But there may be an object, there may not be an object. There may be a complement, there may not be a complement. Why here? Like she's crying. She's crying. There's no object, there's no complement. And it is a sentence. There's just subject and verb form together. Because to be verb is not the main verb. To be verb doesn't show the action of the subject. It is a helping verb. It is here for a grammatical function. And what is the grammatical function? It gives ing, okay, to the main verb. It gives us an idea that the action is in progress. The action is going on. You got it? Okay, so now, subject, main verb. This is the most important part of a sentence. The pair of subject and verb. Okay, if you do not have one of these two, that cannot be a sentence. What you write cannot be called a sentence, right? Okay. So here, she's crying. It is a sentence. It's, there's subject and there's main verb. There's the pair of subject and main verb. And it gives us, complete meaning. She's crying, right? But you may add something. She's crying right now. Time expression. Okay. So if you add the time expression, she's crying now or she's crying right now. Now, okay, this will be complement. What? Complement. Okay. Now look. A complement could be called, an object could be called complement. A complement cannot be called object. This is very important to know. An object could be called complement, but a complement cannot be called object. You got it? Why? Because object is the receiver of the action or the state, but complement is not. Complement is there just to complete the meaning, of a word in a sentence or the meaning of your sentence. Now look how. I want to clarify this difference over here, the difference between complement and... Now look, they play football every day. They play football every day. Now look, so they is Subject. Play is the verb form, right? In football is object. If you do not bring the time expression every day, so now object, right? They play football every day. So it's object. And then you can say it is object, and every day is time expression. It is time expression, okay? Or you can say after main verb, both of them, I mean the combination of this object and past time expression all together, you can say that is a complement, okay? So an object could be called complement, but a complement cannot be called object. So here we have a complement very hard, and we cannot say it is object. Why? Because object is the receiver of the action or the state. If it's a state verb, the object receives the state, okay? If it is action verb, so the object receives. For example, you say, I hate something, okay? I like something, okay? So now the state of liking something comes from the subject, from you, right? Okay? And you like something. For example, you like pizza. So you subject like, main verb in pizza, okay, that receives, the state of emotions, okay? You generate, the state of emotions. You like something, you love something, you hate something, right? And something that you like or hate, okay, or dislike, that person or that thing receives that state, the state of loving or liking or, hating. You got the point? Okay. So I hope it's clear now. Now, in this sentence, we can say subject, verb, and complement. Or you can divide this complement into parts, and you can say football is the object. Why? Because it receives the action of the subject, and every day is the time expression. So this way. An object could be called complement, but a complement cannot be called object. Is everything clear?
Yes.
Are you sure? Okay, so now you know the difference between a complement and object?
Yes.
Okay, so what is object?
Object is the receiver.
The receiver of the action or state. Okay, and complement?
Complement is complete.
Something that completes the meaning of a verb or completes the meaning. For example, if you have a to be verb in simple present tense or whatever tense, right? For example, you say, she is. If you stop it here, she is. She is, right? The meaning of this to be verb is not a complete, and you cannot stop it. If you stop it here, she is, it does not give you a complete meaning, right? So now she is angry today. Or you may just say she's angry. So now this adjective does what? It completes the meaning of this to be verb. So it is used here as a complement, okay? Or you may say she's angry today. So both, angry today, complement. These two words complete the meaning of your to be verb. You got it? So complement. We cannot say it's object. You got the point? Complement, right? Okay. So I hope everything is clear. Subject, verb, object or complement, these three are the most important parts of a sentence. Specifically subject and verb. I told you that if your verb is intransitive, there may not be an object. Okay? If your verb is transitive, there should be an object. Because transitive verbs need objects. Without objects, they do not give complete meaning, right? Okay? For example, you say, Tom writes, Tom writes, Tom writes. It does not give a complete meaning. Why? Because this verb is transitive, it needs an object, okay? And if you say Tom writes, still, it gives a kind of a sort of meaning, but it does not give a complete meaning, right? Why? Because the verb is transitive. Or for example, if you say I drink every day. So I drink what? I must mention something, right? Because if you say he drinks and you do not mention any object, then in spoken English, it means like that person is alcoholic. That person drinks, alcohol. But if that's not the purpose, then you must mention something. He drinks water, he drinks tea, he drinks coffee. Okay, so the verb drink is transitive, it needs an object. So transitive verbs need objects, right? Okay, so if the verb is transitive, there you need an object. And the object will be the receiver of the action if it's an action verb, or if it's a state verb, the object will be the receiver of the state. Okay, if it's intransitive verb like he works, and then every day is not object, right? So it's a complement. You got it? And she's crying. Here's another example. She's crying. She's crying. It gives a complete meaning without, using any object or complement over here. She's crying. Okay, you may say right now, but if the person is in front of you and they're asking you, what is she doing? Okay, and then you say she's crying. Okay, or she's walking. Okay, you see that? Or she's running, right? So subject plus verb, and that is a sentence. There's no complement, there's no object, but it's still a sentence, right? Why? Because the verbs in these sentences are intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs don't need objects, okay? If you bring anything like sort of time expression or adverb of time, adverb of place or something, right? So that will be complement. I hope this much is enough. And grammar could be boring sometimes, it could be interesting sometimes. If students are involved a lot, it could be interesting. If they're not involved, it could be boring, okay? So I could ask you to make some examples, okay? Make sentences in different tenses, but I think this much will be enough. And right after we're done with this, recording this lesson, we'll be working on present continuous tense or present progressive tense. And there you will be involved a lot, okay? After I explain the tense, you will be asked to make sentences and make examples, okay? Got it? Any questions?
No.
Everything is okay? Okay, have a great time. Bye-bye.